Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the new podcast. As always, I'm evolving and rebranding, still wandering and still a hedge witch, but I have a lot that I have decided to put on pause for a bit. So, pretty much, this is a episode of change and an episode of reality and what happens when our expectations, our visualizations, our manifestations, our imagination, our beliefs don't match the reality of what we're in. I have always made it a vow in my business, in my coaching, in my witchcraft that I would be completely transparent with everybody, and here it is. So, last episode, I spoke about, this is the month of transformation, the month of letting go and shedding things that we no longer need. Whew, wow, I put that plan in motion, and man, it hit hard. Was struggling this year with a lot of shoulda, woulda, couldas, but more so the aspect of why is this not happening yet? Why is my magic, my spells, why are my manifestations taking so frickin' long? And the things that I want became a burden, a serious burden for me. Some things that I enjoyed so very much. Once I started to put them into motion for them to be part of my business, it stopped being fun, and that hindered my progress and that hindered my time frame. If you have been following me for a minute, whether on Instagram or my website and blog, that I've been trying to promote my readings. I have a very unique style of reading oracle cards. I've been trying to, I'm shoveling now, but I've been trying to put them here and there on my podcast or my blog or on social media. I personally believe it's a very private interaction with my clients, so I tend not to show that as much. But then I realized that the more I put out there, the less I received, the more stress I had. And it was starting to be a burden for me. It was starting to break my heart. Something that, I thoroughly have enjoyed. I have been offering my services on and off for probably about 10 years now. And it like slowly fizzled away. And I realized that the more that I focus on trying to make money off of it, trying to for that to be my only sole business, for that to be my purpose, it was making me more and more depressed. And I recently got a reading by this phenomenal intuitive reader. And in this reading, they described how there was something that was holding me back, and I needed to go back to the basics of what I wanted to do years ago and put on the shelf, put in a box in the attic, and I needed to let go of something that wasn't fun for me anymore. And that was my cards and my witchcraft. And I realized that that was something very personal to me, and they were right. I realized it was not fun anymore. Yeah, I mean, even saying it now makes my heart hurt, but I, in all honesty, was very done with individuals only wanting to utilize my skills for free. And then when I mentioned payment or, you know, even a barter and trade system, poof, like Kaiser Sose, they disappear. I mean, I was getting so desperate that I was practically begging people for readings. I was begging to give free readings for reviews in the hope that that would give me a little bit more substance, I guess you could say. And it didn't work. It didn't work. I, spent so much money on classes and so much money. The most recent class I did was phenomenal, and I learned so much. And it was actually it's the one that actually helped me to, recalibrate what I'm doing. But I'm just not about the content creation life. I am not an influencer. I'm an inspirer. I am not an influencer. I'm a motivator. I like helping people with their dreams. I like helping people get over obstacles. I like helping people realize that they are more powerful than they think they are. And that was the basics that I was missing. So I have decided to pull out a lot of my textbooks and get into something, like I said, that I wanted to do since I was young. I am going back to my life coaching practice. I am reopening the doors to my coaching services. I have my notebook here that I'm taking notes. I'm going to create new programs and new classes, and I'm still going to keep my courses up, the ones that I've already done, because one, they're amazing. I love them. I had so much fun creating them. I love creating courses, and I am not necessarily getting rid of that aspect, but I am going to offer a little bit more of a life coaching basis. So, like I said, still going to keep the Wandering Hedge Witch title because it is very me. I am that hedge witch in the cottage, that you knock on the door when you have an issue, and here I come in all my garb to help out, even in my Dolly Parton shirt. But I missed it. I missed it. And I put that away for a long time because I believe that nobody wanted that anymore. Everybody wanted such a quick fix. And I realized that I had so much to offer and I'm going to offer it. Plus, honestly, with everything that's going on right now, I truly feel that we need someone on our side. We need someone to be in our corner and helping us through the muck, helping us over the obstacles, helping us to remember that even in the dark, we can still find happiness. And the one of my favorite quotes from that whole series is, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. Well, I am the one helping you to remember to turn on the light. So here we go. So get ready for an influx of new content. Even though I just said I'm not a content creator, but new subject matter, new topics, new programs, and I'm excited. I'm very excited for the future of this. And like I said, I need to go back to having some fun. Anyone that is a parent or a new parent knows that it is extremely complicated. Um, and not to, pull on the gender card, but I am learning that for women going through uh the hormonal craziness. Y'all, this morning I was crying during my workout because I literally did not have hours, or I didn't have 5 minutes within the hours that my child was awake to even process a thought to myself. And for someone that's very independent, that's so hard to overcome. And it has nothing to do with being selfish, and it has nothing to do with, nothing to do with that like whole me energy. It's more so of I have literally done things for myself for so long and have given so much to other people that when it literally came down to my toddler and the constant, as most of you know who are parents, it is constant. You are constantly looking over your shoulder. You literally microwave a coffee for like 15 times before you can even drink 3 sips of it. You can't pee without them on your lap. And these hormonal influxes that we get just make it that much more intense. So, like I said, during this workout, ugly crying and holding her and trying to do this workout. Yeah, it was just a morning. And I was like, you know what? Once I finally get her down for a nap, I'll be able to do some things. Another thing I'm going through at the same time, which again, I'm going to share some experiences with y'all again, and I had our daughter literally like a month and a half after I turned 40. And my postpartum jump started my perimenopause. I think that's how you pronounce it. which I didn't even know was a freaking thing. I thought you just got menopause, but it's like PMS for menopause. Y'all, what in the actual AF? Like seriously, what in the actual F? You forget things. You lose words. Like I used to be a very articulate person. I mean, I read Romeo and Juliet at like the age of 6. Okay, like I was instructed from a young age. I had tutors, and I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth, so it was all education. It was all learning, and I'm very grateful for that. But when you lose your vocabulary and you sound utterly ridiculous and like you don't have an education. Oh my God. The anger, the frustrations you get, the just self-doubt and insecurities, and you go from one extreme to another. I mean, this is what I imagine folks who deal with like ups and downs, personality disorders have to go through, and bless y'all's heart because, oh my God, it's tough. So I really want to utilize these crazy experiences and also generate some programs and exercises and things to help a lot of people going through this. We are in a crazy time right now. And without getting on my soapbox and being political, because, you know, I am a firm believer, have always been, that you do not have to disagree or agree with somebody just to be their friend or and not be their friend. Like, how do I put this? So political, right? My political views might not be your political views, but that does not mean that we can't learn from each other or we can't be friends, right? And I feel like that's what this world is trying to separate. They are trying to separate free thinkers, and they're trying to separate us from each other. They don't want people to think with each other or think for themselves. And there's a lot of control going on. There's a lot of madness going on. There's bless my husband's heart, he listens to all these amazing podcasts, but then, comes in and just verbal diarrheas, all this information that's going on in the world. And for a creative person, for an empath, and for an intuitive to hear a lot of this is very painful. And it's not that I want to ignore it. I know exactly what's going on, but at the same time, I hate to break it to a lot of people. There is always something going to go on. This is your message to start now. Do not wait. Stop waiting for perfection. Stop waiting for something to be better for you to start your dreams or go for your goals. And even though there's craziness out there, you can balance. You can balance helping. You can balance providing and being a humanitarian, but you can also still want things. You are allowed to want your dreams. You are allowed to experience happiness. You don't have to wait anymore. So, these are all things that I'm going to talk about in the future. Like I said, this really was just a quick little update episode. I do know I have to get better about posting a lot more, but I appreciate everyone who's been following me so far. I was talking in the beginning of this episode about the realities and, what happens when our expectations or our manifestations aren't coming to fruition. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not for you. It might just mean that it's not for you right now. It might mean that there's something better coming. Uh, you can't magically erase reality. I choose to make my own reality, but at the same time, there is realities that I cannot ignore. My husband and we are trying to sell our uh, rental property. We have a Airbnb property that thank the gods keeps us going. And we have had it. It has literally been on the market for 1 year. We've had maybe 5 views, and when I tell you, I have done spell after spell and vision boards and visualization meditations. And I mean, it has literally been weeks and months that I've been trying to envision this house being sold, and it is still on the market, right? It doesn't necessarily mean we're not going to get to move to Oregon. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to sell the house. Okay. But what it means is there's other factors going on that I cannot control. I cannot control the interest rates. I cannot control when I say I cannot exaggerate this, y'all. There are literally no less than 100 listings from here to this property. Like everybody around us is selling. There's a mass exodus from Colorado for some reason. Like so many people are trying to sell their properties. One of our friends has a real estate friend, and they said they have 50 listings. Just them have 50 listings to sell. So I can't control that the industry is saturated and that it's literally a buyer's freaking buffet, you know? So I just have to wait a little longer. And it sucks because I'm so ready. I'm so ready for a new adventure. I am so ready to get things started over there because I have so many ideas and plans and goals and dreams. And, you know, my husband has plans and goals and dreams for Oregon. Like, we are so ready to get there. And yeah, so you can't fight certain realities, right? But that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So don't or try not to, because hey, I get it. Like I said, I was crying during my workout today. I was having a boohoo pity party move. Was, you know, woe is me. I never get time to myself. Whiny brat this morning. But then, you know, you got to get back on the saddle. Everybody deserves a 15-minute pity party barge. I do not deny that to anyone. But after that 15 to 30 minutes, y'all, we got to do something about it. And that is where I want to end this episode because I have noticed that people choose other realities to pacify their obstacles. You know, I have this client that amazing, amazing person, so talented, so smart, so creative, so capable. And they get into these fluxes where they cannot look around their obstacles, and mainly because they are not ready to make that change. You can't force anybody to make that change, but the only person that can make that change is you, right? Like, I get it. Financial shit aside and, you know, struggles aside, if you're not happy in your relationship, there is no magic pill to fix your relationship. You have to make the choice. You have to make the choice. Is this right for me? Should we go to therapy? Maybe this is part of my issues. Maybe it's me that's causing this. Maybe it's my significant other. But if you're not happy in your relationship, you are the only person that can change it. If you are not happy in your job, you're the only person that can change it. And yes, I've been there. So, you know, don't give me the, oh, but I need a job and there aren't any jobs. There are. I did that plenty of times. I even did it during COVID. No one's hiring. I have to have this job. And the job that I was in sucked my soul dry. And after a year, I couldn't take it. I almost lost my, this was before we married, but I almost lost my husband. I almost put myself in the hospital for this job. And I just kept saying, we need the money. We need to pay bills. You know, my husband was in an industry at the time that he couldn't get he got laid off because of COVID, right? So it was up to me. So I get the have to do something. I have to stay in this, but it doesn't mean you have to suffer. And it doesn't mean that you can't look outside the box. It doesn't mean that you know, don't look for other jobs while you're in that job. It doesn't mean that you don't, you know, read a self-improvement book about relationships. So before I get off, I just wanted to say this week's challenge is, you know, the end of September. We are about to go in October, and then we have 3 months. That's it. We have 3 months left. And what are we all going to do about these 3 months left of the year? I say enjoy. I say enjoy fall as much as you can, enjoy the holidays as much as you can. Try to find simple ways to make happiness on your face, make a smile each day, even if it is as simple as going outside and just going. So that is my little update. And if I leave you with anything, please start now. Don't wait. You're amazing. You got this, and no one else can do what you do. Trade some cards. So I know I've been shuffling these the entirety of the time I was talking, but if you're not driving, I want everybody to close their eyes and take a deep breath. and ask your guides, your spirit, your higher power, the gods, whoever you attest your, higher power to, even if you're agnostic or atheist, just ask for a message from the universe that you need to hear. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths. Close your eyes. And one more. So we got the mystery mermaid, relaxation mermaid, and the truth. Right now, it's not time to solve the mystery. It's time to enjoy the mystery of ourselves. It's time to find what we enjoy again, find what brings us light and happiness. It's time to look into the dark and not be afraid, but to be brave and excited to face the mystery. But we also need to take this time to relax. It is in relaxation that we will hear the messages and see the guidance that we need to receive. Because in the mystery and in this relaxation, we will find our truth. What are we hiding under the surface that we are afraid for others to see? What truth are you afraid to admit? What truth lays on your heart that you need to speak? Open up your voice and your mind and your heart and let that truth out. And with that, I thank everybody for listening to this babbling episode and update, as always. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful, wonderful.